As the nation honors Dr. Martin Luther King today, we are continuing to follow the life of another influential figure associated with the battles of racial justice, legendary boxer Jack Johnson. The first black heavyweight champion is being considered for a posthumous presidential pardon. Pix 11's new Mario Diaz is here with the 11th hour developments in Jack Johnson's final fight.
I hate to say it, I think it's not going to happen, but we can't give up.
The fight to pardon boxing icon Jack Johnson is in the 15th round.
I haven't been told, Congressman, forget about it. It's not going to happen.
This, according to U.S. Representative Gregory Meeks of Queens, an advocate in the effort to pardon Johnson for more than a decade.
I'm told that we have it, we understand it, we're reviewing it.
Professor Ron Sullivan, the director of the Criminal Justice Institute at Harvard Law School, informed Pix 11 News last week that he was filing the pardon petition with the goal for it to be fast-tracked within the ranks of the Department of Justice towards its final destination, President Obama's desk in the Oval Office. All of this occurred after Professor Sullivan viewed our initial reports in our series, The Final Fight, a series that was instrumental for him, as he expressed to James Ford during a recent interview in Boston.
You did some really excellent research and helped me think through angles and approaches.
One of those angles includes focusing on a comment former U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder made during our interview last July.
Jack Johnson, no question, was convicted unfairly. He was targeted for his lifestyle.
That comment from President Barack Obama's former Attorney General, who was also the nation's first black Attorney General, is significant considering that from 2009 to 2015, Holder was the nation's chief law enforcement officer. For U.S. Representative Peter King of Nassau County, the words "convicted unfairly," as well as the fact that Sullivan was planning to reference our interview with Holder in the pardon petition, validates the efforts that he, Representative Meeks, along with U.S. Senator John McCain and former Senator Harry Reid, have pushed on Capitol Hill for years.
It's very significant that Eric Holder, as a former Attorney General, is saying that. I wish he had said that while he was in office.
Professor Sullivan is also pursuing another angle, which emerged during a phone call orchestrated by our Jay Dow at the behest of Sullivan.
You or any family member filed a petition for pardon yet?
I didn't even know that I could file a petition.
As a result of Pix 11 News connecting Professor Sullivan with Linda Haywood, the great-great-niece of Jack Johnson, a pardon petition for the first time has been written on behalf of Johnson's descendants.
That could have a very real personal impact on the president.
Many have said it would be symbolic for the first black president, who coincidentally is the product of an interracial marriage, to pardon the first black heavyweight champion, who was targeted by the federal government for not only beating up white champions in the ring, but also dating and marrying white women outside of it. However, the rare act of a posthumous presidential pardon will be most meaningful for Haywood and her family, which for decades has lived with this historical injustice.
People have said, what difference does it make? He's dead. He's been dead for 70 years. I'll tell you, it makes a difference because that's my family member. And no family wants to have shame placed upon them for something that they did not do.
Taking all of the recent developments into consideration, what are the chances this stain on our nation's history will ultimately produce a successful resolution before President Obama leaves office? This remains unclear, as a White House spokesperson would not comment to Pix 11 News over numerous requests in the last week. Meanwhile, Representative King is holding on to the one theme that President Obama campaigned vigorously on, the one that swept him into office in 2008. Hope.
After all these years, I just hope we can get it done for the sake of Jack Johnson, the sake of the country, and I think it will be very meaningful for President Obama's legacy.
In the sport of boxing, a fighter is always in it until the final bell, which means that Jack Johnson will have a puncher's chance until this Friday, when President Barack Obama is set to leave the White House.